What is a man? A miserable little pile of secrets. But enough talk. Have at you!
After more than a decade of hit entries, the Castlevania franchise was becoming a little long in the tooth by 1997. At the dawn of the 3D game revolution, Konami took the opportunity to revamp their Dracula-slaying franchise, though not in a way one would expect. While the jump to 3D would come a few years later, the most iconic and genre-defining entry in the franchise would be released as a 2D side-scroller dubbed Symphony of the Night. Picking up after the Japanese-only Rondo of Blood, Castlevania Symphony of the Night opens with a prologue that recaps Richter Belmont's triumph over the Dark Lord. 4 years later, Richter disappears, and Dracula's mortal-friendly son Alucard shows up at his castle, where Death issues a stern warning about not meddling in the resurrection of Dracula 96 years before the next return was supposed to occur. Apparently, Richter's claiming to be the master of the castle. The narrative has a few twists and turns, and features hilariously bad, kitschy-cool PlayStation-era voice acting. The plot isn't exactly exemplary, or even particularly gripping, but it does a great job of providing context for Alucard's mission and marking the milestones in your adventure. The gameplay in Symphony of the Night is what makes it a classic, by ditching the level-based gameplay that characterized most of the previous games and opening up the castle to explore. While Castlevania 2 also took a similar design, it was marred by some obtuse puzzles that made progression almost impossible without some sort of guide. Symphony of the Night ditches puzzles and challenges players with acquiring relics that bestow new abilities on the Damphir Alucard, by allowing him to do things like double jump, transform into mist, summon a ferryman, and open magically sealed doors. In addition to earning new abilities, Alucard gains levels, earns new weapons and armor, as well as learn a few spells. Not being a Belmont, Alucard favors blades and the occasional cudgel instead of the signature vampire killer whip found in most Castlevania games. Many weapons feature special enchantments or special characteristics that reward experimentation, the most notable being the Shield Rod, which can cast spells depending on the shield that Alucard currently has equipped. With his massive and murderous arsenal, Alucard proves to be one of the most efficient killers in the series. You will need all of Alucard's abilities and weapons, because as always, Drax Castle is infested with the undead, and many of them put up quite a fight. Even the lowliest of foes can seriously hamper your quest from one save point to the next. The creatures you fight often fit into the theme of the area they're found in. In spite of the game taking place in a castle, there's an appreciable degree of variety as you explore the castle's chapel, a flooded underground area, the keep, the catacombs, marble-lined hallways, and of course, the dreaded Castlevania staple, the clock tower. These areas are all brought to life with fantastic sprite work that prove just because polygons were all the rage, there was no need to completely abandon good old-fashioned pixels. The open structure of Symphony of the Night would mean little without the plethora of secrets to be found among the stone and marble building blocks of the castle. There are scores of breakable walls, hidden passages, and out-of-the-way items. There is even a secret that effectively doubles the length of the game by giving the player an inverted castle to explore. This new castle has the same layout, but features new art, more powerful enemies, and a wealth of new items and gear to obtain. Some weapons allow Alucard to cast secret spells, and one particularly devious combination with the Shield Rod makes Alucard impossibly powerful. Once complete, it's also possible to play through the game with Richter for a more traditional Castlevania experience. It's a shame that so few modern games offer so many treats for those who really want to dig into a game. Special praise must also be given to Symphony of the Night's iconic soundtrack. It's a sonic soup of wailing guitars, ominous organs, thumping drums, tinging harpsichords, howling choir vocals, and somber bells. Both the prologue and the boss battle theme, entitled Festival of the Servants, sound like part of a jam session between Dream Theater and Bach in the Seventh Circle of Hell. Door of Holy Spirit sounds like a musical collage of great horror movie themes. The Library's theme sounds like a long-forgotten piece of chamber music. Marble Gallery and Crystal Teardrop sound like some sort of experimental acid jazz compositions with their burbling, funky bass grooves. Requiem for the Gods is an eerie choral piece that features chanting bells that sends chills down players' spines, as slow, thunderous drum beats keep everything in time before a Bach-inspired organ piece interjects. These diverse sounds share a gothic theme that is anchored by fantastic organ pieces that create a cohesive soundscape. Symphony of the Night is over 15 years old, but its influence can still be found today in games as diverse as Dark Souls and Shadow Complex. The Symphony of the Night formula lived on in several installments released on Nintendo's handheld consoles. All of them were great, but for me personally, none of them captured the magic of Alucard's fight. The music, the secrets, the visuals, and mechanics all created a perfect storm for one of the most memorable games on the PlayStation and Sega Saturn. Not bad for a 2D game released amidst the explosion of 3D gaming on home consoles.